Doctor went, no, you can't go home. We want to admit you into hospital now. This is serious. I advise you not to go home. I had to stay. I stayed in hospital for 6 days, and now I've got a pacemaker.
I feel lucky to have John with us today. And John, welcome to the channel.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Nice to be here. Looking forward to it.
So, John, where are you from and in the world, and where are you sitting right now?
So I'm from the UK, from England. I'm actually from Liverpool. Currently, I am staying in Da Nang, Vietnam.
How did you end up living in Da Nang?
Before I came to Vietnam, I worked in the UK prison service. So in jails, I worked in a prison service. I was a physical education instructor for like 28 years. And basically, long story short, over that period of 28 years, the job changed. The situation in the job in the prison, it got so bad that I thought, okay, I need to get out. What can I do? And then basically, one day I was on YouTube, just in the YouTube rabbit hole, just watching, you know, here's one video, you start watching pandas and you end up watching sci-fi. It just goes into a different thing. I ended up finding this guy from South Africa who was, I think at the time he was living in, I'm not sure if it was Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh. And he was, he'd been living in Vietnam and he was teaching English in Vietnam. I just clicked on his video and started watching his video and listened to him. And then slowly I just watched more and more of his videos. I went away and I thought, okay, listen, you know, I'm not stupid. How hard can that be? Because at the time, it wasn't just my job, my personal life. I was going through a divorce, as I say, and I've got children, but they're grown up, etc. So I didn't really have a major reason to keep me there. So I thought, okay, what can I do? So I went down this rabbit hole, met this guy, and thought, how hard can it be? So I looked into it a little bit. I went away back in my own home city. I did a TEFL course. So I went to some hotel for 3 days and did some exams and whatever. And then I had to do so many hours. I think it was 120 hours online. Did all this. And then I went and told my work colleagues what my plan was. This was all like, say, 6 months in advance of when I thought it was going to go. And I was lucky enough to be in a position in my job where I could leave that job and get paid for leaving. So it was almost like redundancy, but they called it medical inefficiency. It was very political. It was a way I could, without going into the ins and depths of it, I could get out and they'd pay me to get out.
Nice,
they give me some money to get out. So I went down that line and I did that. I paid and I got out and I got some money and then I got out. And I just decided, okay, Vietnam, I'd come to Vietnam. Now, I'd never been to Vietnam. In my work, I was telling the lads who I work with, listen, I'm going. And they were like, yeah, sure, yeah. Like nobody thought, stupid people don't just up sticks and go and move to the other side of the country they've never been. So I said, I'm going to do it. I'm a bit impulsive in that anyway. So luckily enough, they were helping me. So when we had more people in work than we actually needed to do the job, I would sneak off to the education departments and work with the teachers in the education departments and help or learn or try to just get some information about what it was like to teach English. So I would get involved in some lessons and just watch the teachers do it and learn a few things. Obviously very, very small at that time. I didn't know anything. And then, you know, when my decision was made, I basically just sold all my possessions. I had a car, motorbike, I was quite an active person. I had a lot of outdoor activity, pursuit equipment. I sold most, and I basically just came to Vietnam with a rucksack and a drag-along bag. And I remember at the time I went out for a meal with my children growing up and my ex-wife, actually, still on good terms. And my mum at the time, who didn't come for the meal, but I told her, I said, I'm going. I'll probably be back in 2 weeks. I said, don't worry, I'll probably be back in 2 weeks. And they were like, okay, yeah, whatever. And here we are. I've been here like 7.5 years now.
Wow. Wow.
It's not too bad, yeah. So far, so good. It's worked out okay. If that YouTuber I would have met might have been in Mexico, maybe I would be living in Mexico now. I don't know, or Colombia or the Philippines. It was just, I looked and I thought, give it a go. How hard can it be? Can't be that hard.
So you've been there quite a long time, 7.5 years in Vietnam. What's the short story? I mean, what's it feel like? Was it the right move? Are you happy you're there? What's going
Yeah,
on?
yeah. So my 7.5 years hasn't been in Da Nang. I've been in Hanoi up until December, just gone. So we're now in March. So I've been in Hanoi for the most of that, for just over 7 years in Hanoi. I only moved to Da Nang. I don't want to get ahead in case you ask me the questions of like how I'm here. But basically, I stayed in Hanoi for 7 years. I came on, as I said, I came with this plan to see what happens. My initial plan was land in Hanoi. I got a hostel. I was in a hostel for 2 weeks. So I was just basically exploring the old quarter. I didn't know anything, nothing, never been there. So I'm basically on holiday, going out drinking, meeting people in the hostel, etc. And I thought, so my initial plan was, I'll go and do that for a month. And then, because I'm changing my life, then I'll go look for a job. That month turned into 6 months of like not looking for a job. Just not like I moved out the hostel after like 2 weeks and I ended up getting an apartment. I think my visa at the time, I can't remember if I was on a 1 month visa or something. I can't remember. Maybe 3 months, I think 3 months at the time. And then I just moved into a different area, got an apartment, made some friends, and basically used to just do nothing all day. Get up, veg out, go coffee shops, just chill out, watch the world go by, maybe go and have some beers of an evening and just rinse and repeat. And I used to do that all the time. And then a point come when you can only do that for so long. And like after so many months, I can't remember exactly. I thought, okay, I need to do something just to fill the days a bit more. It's not just sit in a coffee shop. And then one of the people in my circle of friends worked for a company in Hanoi. And she said, why don't you apply for this company? They teach thousands in I don't know, 100 schools, thousands of children, whatever, quite a big company. So anyway, long story short, I put an application in, went through the process, went for the interview, and I got the job there. So basically, for 6 of the 7 years when I was in Hanoi, that's who I worked for in the public school sector. I was primary. I was teaching primary school children. So I went from learning from my first, I don't know, 6 months of learning on the job, like my first lesson was terrible. I couldn't do anything. So over 7 years, you like any job, you learn from your colleagues around you, you pick up tips and hints and ways to do things. And I just progressively got more experience and more experience. So I did that for six years. So they gave me the visa and the work permit. So it was usually, it was a 9-month rolling contract. So the school term starts in September and you work September through to end of May. It's a beautiful part of the world. So I was off going to Thailand, Cambodia, Singapore, Malaysia, just visiting these in 3 months and then recharge my batteries and then back to work September.
That's great. And then you just recently moved to Da Nang. Was that for another teaching job?
I met somebody online, a lady, a woman, and this is her home city. So we've been dating for 2 years. She's been coming to Hanoi, staying, two times a month, and then I'd come here sometimes and whatever, etc., etc. Anyway, long story short, we got married in November last year. So basically, I said, okay, we can't live like this. So I came here, obviously, to live and to be with my wife. So I've come here with a loose plan, like when I first went to Vietnam, of like, I'm going to do nothing for 6 months. And then we see how it goes. So basically, I don't do anything at the moment. I don't work. I'm just doing what I did during my first month in Hanoi, but I'm doing it in a married relationship now, and we drink coffee together, and etc., etc. So yeah, I'm quite happy. I said maybe in the future I will look to do something. Well, I've got my mother and my sister are coming out to visit me in just over a month. So I said I'll wait until that month's over. So I don't want to. And then, if needs be, or if I feel, then I'll go and look for something to do. But to be honest, for me, it's more about finding something to do to fill the day. Because, like I say, before we did this, we were just lying on the beach before having coffee. There's only so much lying around doing absolutely nothing you can do, no matter how wealthy you are or whatever. You can only do that for so much.
Absolutely. So give us an idea. You're in Da Nang. You've been there since December, I think you said. What is your cost of living there? What do you pay for rent and that kind of thing?
Okay, so I wrote all this down and you were going to ask
Oh,
me.
good.
So
Good.
currently, like we live in it's not a big. I live in a small. It's good enough for us. I live in a one-bedroom apartment, so living room / kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, laundry room, and I pay. I'll give it in dong, and I've done the conversion. I pay 7.2 million dong a month, which I give or take is $288, and because I'm British, it's £226 for the British people. So I pay that roughly. Electric at the moment is we're paying $40, a million dong. Again, this is rough. You know, if you want to do the calculations better, okay. A million dong, $40, 31, 32 English pounds. Water, again, $6, £4 something. Food, so grocery shopping, etc. I include food. I include everything. So groceries, things that we eat, bathroom utensils, washing powder, toothpaste, pretty much everything. We pay roughly about 10 million VND, which is $400.
Okay.
Say £314 for the English people. Drinking water, because obviously you can't drink the water from the tap. I pay $3 a month, not £2 something. Then other things such as my phone, obviously internet access on my phone. I usually pay in 3-month blocks. So I pay for 3 months. It costs me like $12 for 3 months, just so I've got data. Not so much for phone calls, as you know, it's just for data. So I can get access, Google Maps, etc., etc. Gas in my bike, so I have quite a nice motorbike here. I've got a 800cc Ducati.
Wow.
Motorbike. So I pay, again, depending on how much traveling we're doing. I pay roughly about $50 or 1.2 million dong a month, $50 a month, which is £39 roughly. And then eating out, which we tend to eat in a lot now because my wife's a good cook. So we tend to spend most of the time in. We do eat out less occasion than we used to before we lived together. When she'd come to visit me in Hanoi, we tend to eat out a lot, pretty much all the time. And when I was single, I never cooked in 6 years, so I eat out always. It's only now I've got somebody who knows how to cook that I eat in. So I put eating out / coffee. I've put it down as roughly, say, 5 million. So $200, £157 a month for incidentals, eating out, going for a beer, having a coffee, which, like, my wife doesn't drink. I'm not a big drinker. I do drink, but I'm not a big drinker. I might go 2 weeks without a drink, and I might go have a weekend and have 5 beers of a night and etc., etc. Or a couple of times a week, I like to go out and watch the football sometimes. So, yeah. And then the only other thing which I noticed I'd forgot to put on was my gym membership. So I pay $1 million a month because I do Muay Thai. So I go to Muay Thai classes three times a week. Obviously, I've got an instructor, etc. So all in all, when I added that up, roughly it was like originally before my gym is $991. So you call it $1,000. So I think it's about it's just over $1,000 if you like, $1,050, $1,090, whatever. Or it was I worked it out in pounds. I think give or take, it's about 810 English pounds a month. It costs me to live here. That's for two.
Fabulous. Fabulous. And so you mentioned that you met your wife and you're married now. How did you meet her? Was it online or in person, or how did that happen?
Yeah, we met online. Obviously, like, as you know, a lot of, especially at my age as well now, a lot of people use the dating apps, so I met her on a dating app. Because even though I was living in Hanoi, I've spent some time in that. When COVID was on, I moved away for a bit, so I spent 2 months living in Nha Trang, and I spent 2 months living in Da Nang. When I was living my 2 months in Da Nang, that's when we met. And we met in a coffee shop, our first meeting. After chatting online for a while, we met in a coffee shop, and then the rest is history. We've dated since, etc. And then we got married. And so basically, we met online.
What was the name, if it's okay, what was the name of the dating website you used?
Uh, Without checking, I'd have to check it there, but I'm almost certain. I think it was Tinder. I couldn't
Tinder.
be 100% certain. Yeah, she's
Okay.
actually in the other room, but I think it was Tinder. You know what I mean, there are several dating sites out there. There's Tinder, Badoo, Bumble, I think is one Tinder really used, and they're all of them are free, and then you can go on the paid ones if you want. I think there's Vietnam Cupid. I know people who've been on that, etc., etc. But I think mine was Tinder. Yeah, I wouldn't swear on it, but I think that's what it was.
That's great. And so
Yeah.
you're not in your home country. It's been a long time. Is there anything you miss from home?
I don't actually miss anything from home other than my family, and like my children, my mum, my brothers and sisters. I've got two grandchildren. Taking family aside, nothing I miss from England, like nothing
And
whatsoever. My plan is to never go back, unless I have to, but never go back.
not even to visit or?
No, I've been back to visit.
Yeah.
I've been back to visit. I think I've been 3 times now. First time in 2018, second time in about when at COVID, I ended up getting stuck at home for a little bit for a few months. And then last year, I had a flying visit very quick for 10 days. I went back because my daughter got married. There's nothing there for me anymore. I like it here better.
So what do you think about, people always think that it's safe in their home country and dangerous everywhere else. What's your feeling of danger there? Do you feel safe in Vietnam?
Yeah, 100%. This is very, very safe. I mean, obviously, I'm a man, so men generally would feel more safer than women.
Right.
As say, a lone female traveling. But generally, I think Vietnam is a very safe country. I mean, most people who listen to this from England, so can't speak for America. You could say Manchester, London, Liverpool, Birmingham, Glasgow, Newcastle, all the big major cities. You could go to any of them cities on a weekend and see far more aggravation or violence or potential violence, etc., than you ever see in Vietnam. I've been in Vietnam, like, as I say, nearly 7.5 years now. And I personally have never had any trouble. And I've seen it 2-3 times. I see road rage incidents a few times, but as in socializing on a weekend in whatever town or city I'm in of an evening around bar cultures and whatever, I've never seen anything. It's so safe. Yeah.
What about, do you carry health insurance there or just pay as you go? How do you handle that?
No, I don't. A funny story. So, like, I don't have health insurance. It's one of them. I keep myself fit. I'm pretty active, very active, to keep my fit. And I used to think, I mean, nothing's ever going to happen to me, like that thing. But I've been to hospital 3 times since I've been in Vietnam. I had a motorbike accident years ago, cracked my ribs, to go get some injuries there, whatever. I went last year. I had a cyst on my eye, and I went in and let's have a minor surgery, and he cut it out. And I must say, like, using that as an example, so I had this cyst that was giving me irritation. I went to the hospital, Japanese eye hospital in Hanoi. I walked in, gave my name in, said, look, this is the problem with it. They ushered me upstairs, see a doctor, do some tests, do this, do that, and the other, and cut it out. From walking in off the street to walking out with my eye patched up and fixed was less than 1.5 hours done, finished.
Wow.
Surgery over, and it cost me like $40. And I was in and out in 1.5 hours. It was like so funny because I went on my motorbike. I was expecting eye drops or medication. I didn't realize they were going to scalpel it out. Then they I was nearly crashing my motorbike driving out from the hospital. I couldn't see. I was like, I can't see driving my motorbike. I had to pull over a few times and go, because they hadn't put the patch on properly. So when you close your eye, my eye wasn't closed behind the patch. It was flickering. So my vision was terrible. I'm going to crash. But yeah, so that was a minor thing. And then two weeks ago, in Da Nang, 2 weeks ago Saturday, or maybe 2.5 weeks ago, I'd been in the gym Saturday morning, went to the gym, came back, do my normal routine, come back, chill out, rest, water out, waiting for a shower. Went in the shower, got showered, and I collapsed 2 weeks ago. I collapsed, went unconscious. My wife was in, thankfully. So she heard the big bang. She come running into the bathroom. She couldn't get in because I was slumped on the floor behind the door. Apparently I was conscious then when she come in. I was naked. And basically, long story, I fell, then unconscious. I split my head open. So she gets me up, gets me onto the bed and like towel on me, and I'm thinking, what happened? I don't know what happened. Must have blacked out. Anyway, so after like an hour sitting there just sort of calming myself down, etc., I said, I better go to the hospital because my head was bleeding. Now, if I hadn't have cut my head, I probably wouldn't have went to hospital. I probably would have just thought, oh, whatever, you know. Thankfully, I cut my head because I went to hospital and they looked at it. They asked me what happened, so I told them the story, and then they said, we want to give you a scan. Is it CT scan? No, MRI scan. Say, we want to give you an MRI scan. So I said, okay. And then I'd been having problems with my stomach. I'd been feeling not pain, but discomfort. I wasn't comfortable in bed. So I said, can you look at my stomach as well while you're here? So in the end, they were talking to me, and I said, you know what, do everything, do whatever you need to do. Just check me out fully. Anyway, so I MRI scan, ECG, what's it called? Like they put the thing and they look at your heart, they like scan thing, like pregnant women get. I got stomach checked, stomach thing. I got stomach checked. I got blood taken. I got urine taken. I got everything. And this is the shocking part. So like, when they checked me, they said, okay, your head's fine, nothing. It's just a cut, etc. And then they obviously stitched me up later. They said, well, we're concerned about your heart. They said, you've got two blocked, not arteries, but two of the things that send the signal to your heart to make it beat regularly. Apparently there's three, two of them are blocked. Anyway, long story short, they said, we want you to go home today and wear this heart rate monitor thing for 24 hours. So they had all these things I had to wear this thing. So I did that for 24 hours. I went up to the hospital the following day. And they checked it all and they said, yeah, your heart stopped last night for 2.5 seconds when you were asleep and you've got an irregular heartbeat and they're definitely blocked and and all this. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm thinking, we've gone for coffee while they were checking these results. And during the coffee, I'm talking to the wife and I said, because she's gone, it's probably because you didn't have enough food and that's why you've collapsed. And I'm thinking, yeah, so we'll go to another hospital and I'll get a second opinion. He said, yeah, I've got to get a second. So we go in and he tells me all this information. Okay, this is blocked. And there's a bit of a shock. And I said, okay. He said, okay, so thanks. I said, so I'll go home. I said, I haven't need to have a think about this now. I'll just go home. And I want to tell my family. And the doctor went, no, you can't go home. We want to admit you into hospital now. This is serious. I advise you not to go home. And it was a big shock. I went, it was that serious. Like, anyway, so I had to stay. I stayed in hospital for 6 days, and now I've got a pacemaker.
Yeah.
So they fitted a pacemaker to me, and I was in hospital for 6 days. I've been out just over a week, like, so a week and 10, 12 days, whatever. But yeah, no, I know it was a long drawn out story, but basically I didn't have health insurance for this, so I paid. Yeah. And in Vietnam, if you don't have money, you don't get treated, basically. So this is the same for Vietnamese, and you pay up front. So I didn't know how much this was going to cost, except thankfully I'm not destitute and poor. I have a bit of money. So they said it was going to be this. It was going to be 150 million, which is like, give or take, it's just £4,800. Yeah, nearly £5,000 English pounds.
Right.
So I paid this, and obviously then they treated me, etc. So, and then obviously it went well, and I was in hospital for 6 days. Actually, I got some of that money back. I got 6 million back. So I paid 150, I got 6 million. So I overpaid slightly at the time. That was including medication in this. So, to round it off, give or take, it was £5,000. But to say, if I didn't have had that money, I would have had to get on a plane probably and fly home. But the thing is, like, what I'm really grateful for, to get the money, because you pay whatever it needs to stay alive. So if I would have flown home, one thing I'll say about Vietnam is, like, the treatment was amazing. Like, to go into a hospital, to be found, like, to be diagnosed with that, to be admitted, the following day to be operated on, given a bed. It all happens so quick. That wouldn't have happened to me in the UK. I would have probably had to go and have, oh, we'll give you an appointment in so many times, and you come back for the appointment. You might die in the meantime. So I'm very grateful. I'm grateful for that.
Oh yeah,
the way they looked after me.
And you're damn grateful you're not an American too, because if you flew home, that damn 6 days in a hospital and a pacemaker and surgery and all that, I don't know what that would cost, but I wouldn't be surprised if you told me $100,000. I wouldn't be surprised for a minute. So
yeah, so £6,000, whatever, it's a small price to pay.
It's nothing.
Yeah, but the only thing is now, like advice-wise, I would tell people, if you're planning on doing this or going to any country, get insurance. Now, I know people who've got insurance, and even the way insurance works, you pay a lot of money, and half the time it doesn't cover half the things you want, etc. You need to get that. You probably have to pay top dollar insurance. You're paying a lot. That's why a lot of people don't bother. You're going to pay, for argument's sake, $500 a month on the chance that something happens. People hedge their bets, don't they? And they go, okay, I'm all right, let's just see what happens. Yeah. And that's okay if you can fund it when it does go wrong.
Right.
But, you know, if that would have been a full cardiac arrest, then I'd have dropped dead. Someone had brought me back to life. I had no money. I can't just go, oh, no worries, I'll fly home. It's 17 hours. I'll fly home and say, you know, it's not possible. It's not practical, isn't it?
Yeah.
You need to be treated there and then, or you die.
Yeah, that's
so,
right. That's right.
And have the insurance or have the money.
Yeah, of course. That's the lesson.
You know, Vietnam's a communist country. I feel this is the freest place I've ever been in my life. You'll have a whale of a time. It's brilliant.
Are you happy, John?
Yeah, very happy. I'm very happy now. And I'm a lot more happier now that I've got a wife.
As I travel around the world, I write these retired cheap in paradise reports. They include links to where we stayed, restaurants, cheap public markets, expensive grocery stores, transportation information, internet speeds, visa information, weather, and other information. All of this information saves time when you are doing your exploratory visits to identify your own personal paradise destination. We spend hours collecting and preparing this information so you don't have to. Click the first link in the notes below this video to get an idea of what I'm talking about. Hey, if you liked our video, please like, comment, or subscribe. Any of that would help our business. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.